Welcome to Gotta Run. This is Will Sanchez. My special guests tonight are Sid Howard and his wife, Asteria Howard. They coach the team for kids. Please welcome to the show, Sid and Asteria.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for having us on the show today.
It's a pleasure to have you both. Sid, let's get started by sharing with the audience, if you would, a little bit about your background. Where were you born and raised? A little bit about your schooling.
Well, I actually am a Jersey boy, born in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is a stone's throw across the water from Staten Island. In fact, a lot of the people that grew up with me, they used to swim to Staten Island. I say it was about maybe 300 to 400 meters separated. New Jersey, Elizabeth, New Jersey from Staten Island. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School. I was a very good runner. I was the number one runner in the 11th grade, and I also was the number one clown.
Oh, I'm sorry, the number what?
Number one clown. I thought that I could just laugh my way through school. I thought that all I have to do is just clown around in wood shop. I failed wood shop. Nobody fails wood shop because all you have to do is do what the teachers say and don't clown around. And so I failed wood shop in math, and I didn't have enough credits to run cross country in my senior year. So what I did, I quit school to join the Air Force.
Well, let's pause there and then bring in your wife. But where were you born and raised? A little bit about your schooling.
I was born in Bolivia, South America, in my neighborhood, and we had a lot of kids, mainly boys, and I think I was the only girl.
In your school or in your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, and I was in a school, and private school actually, but I was so teeny tiny. I remember always they used to beat up me. And then I told my parents that I don't want to be beat up anymore. And they switched me for a girls' school.
Okay.
But all the girls, we were so, like they call here tomboys. And at very early age, I was playing basketball, volleyball, soccer in my hometown in Bolivia. And then after high school, well, of course, elementary school, and in high school, I was in a private school, and boys and girls. And everything, it was just in movement. The school, it was a Catholic school, and we had a huge land with apples, peaches, and apricots, and we used to love to hang out on the trees and stealing the fruits. And they used to put it at the corner. But they used to love because being in the corner means we have to play basketball and play volleyball and do the running and the jump rope. My favorite toy, I never had a doll, and my favorite toy was the jump rope. Really? I think that's the way I was training myself. And because of the last year in high school, it came another teacher to make running races. I didn't have any idea what that means. And I went to the basketball courts, and he put it in a heats to run, and I did it. On the half of the basketball court, my shoe came out. I went back to pick it up, and I put it on, and all the kids, they passed me. And he took back to the classroom, and he said, and by the names, you're gonna represent the school, and we have to go to a big race. And I told the teacher, I said, how about me? And the teacher said, no, how are you going to go? You don't know nothing about running. I said, but I can beat all of them. I said, no, you cannot do that.
This is in high school?
In high school, the last year. And then the time goes because it was 1 month later. But I was training myself with my dog. I used to run around the neighborhood with my dog and jump in ropes.
Okay.
And the day came, and I was so late for the meeting of all the students. And I went back home. I said, Dad, how I'm going to get the track? My dad explained me how to get it. It was like living in Flushing, and I have to come to run to Manhattan. But I never been in that city. I was all the time on that town, on the neighborhood. And my dad explained me, and it took me like 2 hours to get the track. When I got the track, and it was left in one hit to finish the 100 meters. And when I saw the teacher, I said, hey, I want to run. The teacher said, I know, you don't want to do nothing. But the guy who was getting the star, he said, let her to run, because it was six lines, the track, and it was 5 girls. He said, let her to come and to run. And when I got there, I never had running shoes. I took out my shoes and barefoot. I went to the start line and making like what the monkey do.
Right.
And I did everything what they were doing, and I went on the race and I won the heat.
Excellent.
I won the heat.
Barefoot.
Barefoot.
You're ahead of your time, because barefoot is now making a big comeback now.
Exactly, yeah. And
Interesting.
after I finished, that teacher, it was like a crazy. And he said, you won the heat. I said, I told you I was fast. Then I had to run with the winners of every heat. And then I went to the finals. On the finals, I won the finals. I won my gold medal that day.
Yes,
And the teacher, it was crazy. And then he said, now you want to try the long jump? I said, what is that? And he showed me. He said, you're going to run, you're going to take off, and you're going to get it on the long jump. And I did it, and I won the long jump too. And the teacher said, oh my goodness, when I was in high school. After I finished high school, I went to La Paz, which now they call the capital of Bolivia. And it's not the capital of Bolivia. And Sucre is the capital. And I went to college to get my degree in physical education teacher.
Excellent.
And I was still competing over there.
Excellent.
After I finished college, I went to Venezuela, because of my country. Supposed to be, when I finished college, I was as a national champion.
You were an international champion?
National in our country.
Okay.
But we had an international tournament, which we call the Bolivarian Games. And it came a lot of countries 5 countries to my country to the competition. And I couldn't do nothing. I was so frustrated. Venezuela, it took all the gold medals. Gold, silver. And my point was, how come I used to be a national champion and I couldn't get it even the semifinals? And I said, I have to find out what they have in Venezuela. That's the way I went to Venezuela to find out what was happening. Why Venezuelan runners, they can do a lot of gold medals, and Bolivia, we have a high altitude, we have a good food, and actually we have a good people, but we couldn't do nothing. After 19 years being in Venezuela, I realized that what we don't have in Bolivia is a good knowledge how to train the runners, how to improve those kids, which we have talent, we have everything in there.
Okay, interesting. Let's get back to Sid. You said you flunked out of school. And so what did you do after you left school?
What I did, I joined the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
I was a follower of my oldest brother. We call him Spike. His name is Anderson, but I always wanted to be, whatever he did, I wanted to do.
Okay.
He ironed his pants with a crease. So I wanted to be like my brother. He joined the Air Force.
Okay.
I had no idea. I didn't even know I was a runner. I didn't find running. Running found me.
Okay.
Our high school only started in the 10th grade. We didn't have a freshman like they have in a lot of schools. So I wanted to play football. The coach looked at me, 99 pounds, and says, you want to be the manager? I said, no. Then I had a friend, a childhood friend, my ABC friend, we call it. We started in kindergarten together.
Call it your ABC friend?
ABC, because that's when you start your ABCs. That's you in the kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
So we was in the kindergarten together, so we called the ABC friend. His name was Larry St. Clair.
Oh, okay.
His brother was a great runner for Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
He said, Sid, let's go for cross country. I never knew anything about cross country and nothing. All I did as a child was like Asteria. Played handball, football, whatever it was. And I didn't know I had talent as a runner. The first race that we ever had in high school in Thomas Jefferson, I came in third overall. I had no knowledge. 2.5 miles it was cross country. The first 2 guys was from the same school from Jeff. So we had Thomas Jefferson, so we had a good team.
Right.
But I had no idea. So When I got into the 11th grade, and I became the number one runner, and because the first two guys were seniors, they left, they graduated.
Right.
So I became with Larry St. Clair. We were co-captains on the team as 11th grade. So I did very well in school. I came in second in the county, maybe eighth in the whole state. But I didn't realize that you have to do work. You have to do your work in school. And I really was a person who just wanted to get through. If I could, I only did as much as I possibly could. So when I got the news, when this teacher, if I could find that teacher today, I would thank him for showing me you have to be responsible for your actions. And I was devastated. The coach said, you have to go to summer school. I was a person who just barely got by in math. I failed math, so you know what they offered in summer school? Algebra.
Okay.
So here I am, I barely could pass math. And so I knew I was cooked, and there's no way I was going to go to summer school and take algebra when I could barely just do fractions.
Okay.
So after that, when the school started in September, I just moped around. My father or mother know I wasn't even in school. October, I signed up for the Air Force. And my father said, what? You wait till you're 18 and you could go. And I made him angry because I brought the recruit sergeant to the house. He said, you want to go that bad? And he signed me out. 6 months later, I got my GED. I said, I could have stayed in school. But I never did any type of running I was 17.
Yeah.
And I didn't start running again until I was 39 years old.
39, 22 years later. And so what inspired you to get back in the game?
My son used to go to and when he was in high school, I used to have these, my sons, I had 4 sons, and I used to pay them. We used to run once a week because they had a paper route. I used to wake them up every morning to take them on a paper route. And on Saturdays, we would go for a run. And they never knew about my background as a runner. And I only had 2 years as a runner at that anyway. So I used to pay them $1 a mile. We used to run around our neighborhood in Plainfield, New Jersey. I ran with them and just to encourage them.
Yeah.
And never knew that what is going to turn out when one day my son comes into the house, said, Dad, they got a race for old people at the high school. They had a mile. They called the Master's Mile. I ran that race with 3 weeks of training. 3 weeks of training, I ran a 5:02 mile. This was in July the 21st, 1978.
That's an excellent time regardless of age.
Yes, and man, I was hooked. 3 months later, I ran a New York City marathon, and I kept telling everybody, I'm gonna break 3 hours. Here I am, a novice, 3 months of training, 3 months of running. And this was July, and they had the marathon was in October.
What year was that?
This is 1978.
78, okay.
They only had 6,000 runners in it. This was the 5 barrels. And I told everybody, I'm gonna break 3 hours. When I got inside the park, I needed maybe 50 minutes to break 3 hours. I couldn't do it. I was walking, I didn't realize how important it is to learn about pace. I didn't eat. I didn't know anything. I thought the lighter you were, the faster you would be.
Right.
And I ended up with a 3:02.
Not bad.
But I was hooked on running for the rest. And 1 month later, I said, I want to try it again. I ran a New Jersey marathon. So in 4 months of running, I was on my second marathon, and I ran a 3:03. So
you were a second slower.
So I got slower. So I didn't realize that it's all about pace. It's about knowledge. I didn't care about knowledge. I wanted knowledge, but I was so happy to be able to do something that made me feel good and something I was able to do. I knew one day that I would listen to the runners who told me, don't pay attention. Don't try to run for time. Just run to enjoy it. But that's how I got started into running.
Interesting. When did you come back to leave and join the United States? How was the story there?
In 1994, I was competing in Masters in track. And but I was running with a group of males, which they used to come to run the New York City Marathon every year. But always even I think here, the track runners, they don't mess up too much with the road runners. Yeah, always we say that, oh no, they are so sweaty, they are not good, they are too skinny, and
Okay.
And one of the runner he used to tease me, oh, you always are in track, you always on the newspapers, because by then know so many ladies running in track. And always we used to be 2 ladies or 3 ladies, and they were slower than me. And I never considered myself that I was a good runner. But I used to tell him, but just we want to run. Then he said, teasing, oh, you never gonna finish half marathon or marathon.
Now this is
In Venezuela. In Venezuela in 1994. Yeah. Then my friend says, Asteria, you should make a bet with him. I think you can beat him. And I said, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna beat you. We're gonna go. And it was the 25th anniversary of New York City Marathon. And he said, oh, come over there. I'm gonna pick you up on the half of the course. I said, okay. And I did my entry, and we came to New York City Marathon.
Which marathon was that?
The New York City Marathon in 1994.
94.
94.
Oh my goodness, that was the 25th anniversary?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was the 25th anniversary.
Okay.
And at the start line, I said, actually, when I got the group, I said, what is the start line? And asked, no English. I looked at the Latin faces. I said, what is the start? And they pointed out, you see those balloons over there? And I said, it was far away.
Right.
And I said, there is the start line. I said, what I'm going to do? It's going to take me too long to get at the start line. But I'm too short, and I started to go between the people. Excuse me. Incredible, I got it on the front line.
Wow.
Actually, I started behind the elite runners. Everybody was saying, how you did it? I don't know, but I want to start there. And I did the New York City Marathon on the Verrazano Bridge. I was so excited, but at the same time, I was thinking, be careful. You shouldn't do a pace, because this is not 5K, this is not 10K, this is a marathon. And I never had experience. And I slowed down my pace, and I started to enjoy the course. And looking the faces of the runners, finding Latin runners to ask how long, what is the course. And I was just enjoying the people. I never saw the kind of course with a lot of people cheering us. And when I got Central Park, I was so excited because my friends, they said, as soon as you got Central Park, the marathon is over. There I started to pick it up. My pace.
Okay.
One runner said, don't pick it up because still you have to go. It's 3 miles to go. And 3 miles to go. I don't have any idea. In Latin countries, we don't use miles. It's just meters.
Okay.
And then I said, 3 miles. How much is in meters? He says, 5K. Oh, 5K. No, it's too much. And then I got it, I slowed down until I got the Columbus Circle. When I got it there, and I said, this is the end. I picked up my pace. When I look at it back, as soon as I passed the finish line, I was so surprised because I did a 3:54.
Excellent.
And I said, oh, wow. And I waited to another runner from Venezuela. It came after me like 5 minutes slow. And I asked him, I said, where is, we used to call him Pastero. Where is Pastero? And he said, oh, he is on the half of the marathon. And I beat him, and I was the first runner in the whole group of which we came from Venezuela.
Excellent.
There I got so in love of New York.
Yeah.
We went back to Venezuela and started the political problems with Chavez.
Yeah.
And economically it was so terrible. And I went back to Bolivia.
Yeah.
I was in Bolivia and the economy wasn't so good. And I was working as a physical education teacher, but my salary was just covering my commute to go to the school. And there it was a cross country for summer or for masters. I ran the cross country and I won the cross country in Bolivia. And they told me, I said, Asteria, you should go to USA. There is a masters, it's going to be a championship, world championship. I said, That sounds good because I wanna go from Bolivia. I don't wanna be in Bolivia. And I asked them, I said, are you gonna get the visa? And they say, yeah, we're gonna get the visa, but you have to represent Bolivia. And I said, I'm gonna go. I did all my training and they couldn't get my visa because when I was training, I told them, if I go to USA, I'm not coming back. And that was the point which the Olympic Committee, they said, oh, Asteria is going to USA, but she's not going to come back. But I have people on the Olympic Committee they used to be my teachers in college.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, no, I was joking, but I want to go to USA. Okay. And I got a visa that they were running the 8-kilometer cross country in Buffalo. It was in Buffalo in 1995, July, the world champions in Masters. They told me, they said, Asteria, today it was supposed to be, you have to run the cross country.
Right.
And I say, yeah, but it's your fault, not my fault. I said, but it's better to you stay in Bolivia. I said, no, I want to go to USA because I want to run the marathon. I said, the marathon? You don't have marathons. Yeah, but I want to do it. It took me 1 week to get it Buffalo.
Did you 1 week to do what?
1 week to get it Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Because of the marathon, always they do the last day of the competition. I got it Buffalo at 6:30 in the morning. And they said, Asteria Claure, this is your number. And leave your suitcase here. And get your shoes and go to the start line.
Yeah.
I was all night on bus from New York to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I went to the start line and I ran the marathon without no resting.
My goodness.
1 week traveling by bus, by plane.
How did that go for you?
I was so surprised, even though like that, I got that 12th place overall
12th
in the
place.
marathon.
This is in Buffalo.
In Buffalo. After that, I said, I'm not going back to Bolivia.
Oh.
And then I came to New York. And that is the way I got into
Now you're in New York. Well, let's pick up with Sid. So you discovered, because you started many records. When did this record start falling for you in place?
Well, to revert back to what Asteria didn't even actually tell you everything about how she was on the bus. Now, I went to the same race.
Oh, really?
The World Masters Games. It was the last time we ever had it here in the USA.
Okay.
Was 95 in Buffalo. Now, I never met Asteria at that time, but I have the results of the result book. So I was able to look up, and sure enough, Asteria is right there. But she told me that when she was on the bus from Port Authority she couldn't even speak English then. And the bus driver the bus driver himself, she was trying to let him know that she had this race to go to. Now, nobody comes, the marathon is the last day of competition, is the marathon as well as the real race, just like the regular Olympics they have. And what he did was he actually personally parked the bus and took her to the stadium, or she would have never even made it.
That's a great story. But you didn't meet her at this time.
I didn't meet her at that time, but that year, I actually came in second in my division in the 800 meters. Okay. And I ran behind a great runner. His name is Alan Bradford from Australia. But I never had a chance to even realize that I had that kind of ability. When I came in second there in that race, that gave me the idea that I might be able to do something in terms of maybe setting records or breaking records. That was 1995. I was 56 years old. 1999, I turned 60. And I turned 60, and on my birthday, they had an 800 meters race at the New Balance Armory. Right. And I needed to break 2:16 to break the world record. My family, I didn't even realize it, but my daughter and my sons, they arranged to be in the armory that night. I didn't have no idea until the race. I ran the race. I broke the world record. I was the first man over 60 to ever break 2:15 for the 800 meters. I ran 2:14.75 indoor and broke the world record.
Excellent.
And later on that same year, I went to the World Games in Australia. I went to the World Games in Gateshead, England.
Okay.
And the same person who beat me in '95, Alan Bradford, he set the world record at the age of 60. He ran 2:10.6.
Wow.
And there was another one named Francisco Souza from Brazil. He ran 2:11.6. And I ran 2:12.71. This was in England, and I set the American record, which lasted until last year. It lasted 11 years. So
wow.
I was the first American to ever break 2:13 outdoors in the 800 meters, and the first man in the world to break 2:15 indoor in the 200 meters.
And you did that in the same year.
I did that in the same year.
That got to be a record by itself to do those two records.
Well, what happens, and when you turn a new age group, the window of opportunity is very quick. If you don't do it at that year, very seldom you could be able to break records, because I had broke a record when I was 60. I broke a record when I was 65 for the 800, and I still hold the record. I hold the record today for 60, 65 to 69, and 70 to 74.
For which?
For 800 meters.
800 meters. You still hold the world record to this day.
I hold the American record to the day.
Okay.
But I hold the world record in the 4x800 relay for 60 to the day. I still have that.
Oh, is that with Dr. Dan Hamner?
Yes, that's the record that we have even to today, that we set back when I was 65 years
excellent.
old. All I could say is that I was very lucky. I don't take credit for what I did. I give credit to the Lord to give me the inspiration and the power to do what I do.
Interesting.
You know.
Did you ever meet Doug Stern?
Doug Stern, I met Doug Stern because he used to have this water.
Right.
He used to have water aerobics.
Right.
And he was a very inspirational person.
He was. But he always asked at the beginning of the class to calm down the students because everybody thought they were terrible at swimming. And so he would always ask, well, he would look at you, who's the fastest runner in your family? So Sid, who's the fastest in your family?
The fastest runner in my family is probably my son, Kevin. But in terms of endurance, none of my children could beat me, even to today.
And you're now a great-grandfather.
I'm a great-grandfather 4 times.
4 times, and you're the fastest long-distance
runner in my family, and I'm 7.
Kevin could beat you maybe the 50-yard dash.
Kevin beat me for 100 meters, but he cannot beat me for 400 meters.
Oh,
when we go over 100 meters, it's all over for Kevin.
Well, listen, we wanted to talk about Team for Kids.
Oh.
But let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about your involvement with Team for Kids.
Well, what happened 4 years ago, Asteria and I came on board as coaches for Team for Kids.
Well, at that point, you knew each other?
At that point, we were actually married at that time. And we got married. We never even had a chance to speak about that, but thank God that I'm able to sit next to her, and it was very lucky. But Team for Kids is a program where we take people who sponsor the kids. It's a charity. And what the people who sponsor the kids, the money that goes towards that they put up is only that it helps the children who doesn't have any type of physical education. Not only in the USA, but throughout the USA, all 50 states and parts of South Africa as well as Ethiopia.
Interesting. So Team for Kids is not only a national program, but it's international.
International,
South
around the
Africa.
world.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think in London too, right?
It's coming to London.
It's coming to London. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
But that is so wonderful. You can use your experiences because you didn't have it easy in your running experience, and you can relate.
Yeah.
Seems to me very well to the adults who are a little scared about getting into this thing. And you're a champion, but you came through, from tough upbringing, and so did you in terms of overcoming, learning how to run. Now you can share that knowledge.
We can share that knowledge, and the people that donate, sponsor the children, they have an opportunity to run the New York City Marathon, and that's our job as coaches, to get them ready in 5 months to go from maybe 0 miles a week or 5 miles a week to running at 26.2.
Okay. Thank you very much for stopping by and sharing. We have to do another show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
so much, Will. It was
Thank you
nice
so
to do.
much.
Thank you.
So great. I never knew any of these things.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. It's good for you to have us. Maybe if someone heard what we had to say today, it might inspire someone to go in the
Yeah.
closet and get out their shoes. And now,
Absolutely.
you're never too old.
Absolutely.
You know?
You have to do the work,
Right.
and anything is possible.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Even when I did my experience like that, and that's always I tell them, I said, just put it here. As soon you set up on your mind, your body's gonna just follow.
Good.
The mind drives the body. Yeah, thank you so much.